This is example 5.6 on page 156 of your textbook. In this example, we are going to be writing an equation for the precipitation reaction that occurs, if there is one, between aqueous solutions of potassium carbonate and nickel 2 chloride. So first step for this is going to be to write the formulas of the two compounds that are being mixed. So we have potassium carbonate, which is K. Carbonate is CO3 2-, so we have to have 2 potassiums per carbonate, K2CO3. Aqueous, and that's reacting with nickel 2 chloride. So we know nickel has a 2+ charge, which means I have to have 2 chloride ions. Now, the next step is to swap partners between my cation and anion. So the anion of one compound goes with the cation of the other. So carbonate goes with nickel, and potassium goes with chloride. So two potential possible products may be potassium chloride, which has got the formula KCl, and the other possible product is combination of nickel and carbonate, which is going to be NiCO3. We have to account for the different charges that we have now with our formulas. So potassium is plus, chlorine is minus, so we have one of each. Nickel is 2+, carbonate is 2-, so we also have one of each there. Now at this point is where you consult your solubility rules to see if either one of these forms what's called a precipitate or a solid. If one is solid, then we're going to have a precipitation reaction that occurs. If one is not solid, then no reaction is going to happen. So KCl, if we look at our rules and consult them, anything that contains potassium is always soluble. So KCl is soluble. No precipitate will form. Nickel carbonate, on the other hand, carbonate is typically an insoluble ion unless it's paired with an exception. Nickel is not one of our exceptions, so NiCO3 is insoluble, meaning it will form a precipitate. So the way you recognize if one of these reactions is going to occur is if at least one of the products is insoluble. So in this case, nickel is the nickel carbonate. That's all we need to have the reaction proceed. So then, now that we know one of our products is insoluble, I can begin to write the equation for this. So it's going to be our reactants, K2, I'm going to write this a little lower on the screen, K2CO3, which is aqueous, plus NiCl2, which is aqueous, forms the two products that we talked about, KCl, which is aqueous because it is soluble, and NiCO3, which, because it is a precipitate, exists as a solid. So we put parentheses S. S means solid, in this case, the solid phase, not soluble. So now we got to make sure the reaction is balanced. So I have 2 potassiums on my reactant side, which means I need to put a 2 in front of potassium chloride. So that gives me 2 potassiums on either side, 1 carbonate, 1 nickel, and then 2 chlorines here, 2 chlorines here. So now I am balanced, and this is my final complete balanced reaction, A precipitation reaction does occur because I am forming the solid nickel carbonate.